right? So those kinds of conversations I encourage him to do, and I love when he's receptive to them because it is an opportunity for you to do the work without feeling like you have to ask me 1,000 questions. I'm your friend. I'm gonna answer your questions. But what I'm not about to do is stand on my soapbox every day and explain to the white man why we feel the way we feel, and I'm not doing that.
Hey,
open the fucking book.
To piggyback on kids, I wanna ask a question about the stereotype that people have about how black people raise kids and how white people raise kids.
That's peace.
Black people, we whoop our kids. James, do you whoop your kids? Have you ever?
I don't hit them physically, no.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, there's a point where I almost would like to, yes, but I don't. Yeah. They get you angry, but you just have to step back.
I think that's
I'll just take a breather and just walk away or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I will, they'll do. They when we go to Disney, they're always like, "Daddy's anger," you know. So I get that, but I can't.
So how do you reprimand them if you feel like?
I either take a privilege away, or send them to the room, or just yell, and then just send them away, or I will walk away.
So what level do they have to reach before you feel like you need to do something?
When I asked them, a good example last night, when I asked them to take a shower, I'm not going to negotiate with you. I'm not going to be like, well, I'll get you this if you take the shower. I'm like, no, you're going to take your shower now. Okay, girls, let's go. If they continue to
nice dad voice too.
Yeah, if they continue to ignore me, I'm like, girls, I have said to you, you will take a shower. I am not negotiating. And if you don't do it, you'll lose your iPad. And then suddenly.
And you got the job for this. I mean, if I was to hire him as a dad for a cartoon, that would be dope.
Yeah, that's a dad voice.
That's how I feel. I mean, I just don't think, I don't think hitting is going to really.
You know what's dope about
What if they hit somebody? How do you respond to that?
What was the situation? I'm like, if you are, okay, let's do this thing. If you threaten myself, my wife, and my kids, and I have a gun and it's a situation, I will kill you. I'm just saying that.
0 to 100.
And this I've never heard you talk about this.
But I'm just saying that extreme situations.
No, for sure.
Okay,
no,
so
I think she meant for like a
extreme.
lesson, like
Well, I was saying,
like just disciplining.
Oh, just
like if your kid were to do something tricky with
break the TV.
Break the TV or throw something at somebody inappropriately, or I don't know, just
if they threw something at someone inappropriately, I will ground them. I will take it. I will speak to them and say that is not cool, and I will tell them this is, the consequences they will suffer for.
What's so interesting and unfortunate about this? We're trying to not really subconsciously put this man in a place where he can admit to the fact that he whooped his kid.
No, I was asking questions.
Let's be honest. That's what I have never.
So, not to put you on the spot, but I'm just recently, there was a situation, right? We won't get into the details because I don't want you to feel like I'm attacking you. But if your baby kicked somebody, an adult, how would you handle that?
I would then talk to them and say, don't do that. That's not cool. I wouldn't hit them. I wouldn't hit them back.
Of course.
I would just say.
Because how does that teach not to hit?
I'm like, that's not cool. You shouldn't have kicked them. There's no point in putting violence upon a person unless they are threatening you. That's why I just said to you. If I'm in a situation where a man's going to shoot me or my family, yes. If I had to,
So did you talk to your baby?
I did. I was just like, you don't do that. It's not cool. You do not harm other people for something so trivial as whatever you.
And that's what I wanted to. And I probably should have addressed it that day, but since I done outed the whole situation, it was. I know that it was a knee-jerk reaction on her part, and being full transparent on my part, taking the accountability. I did grab her to pull her towards me, right? But this was literally in the way that we always joke. I've known them since they were baby girls, right? And I was literally going to hug her goodbye. That was my whole point. Like, give me a hug, and she kept saying, no. So she dove under the covers, so I went under the covers in a playful manner to get to her. And in doing so, I grabbed her legs and was like, get over here, lady. And her response to that was to kick in my damn boobie. Now, that I didn't feel like was cool, right?
Do you think that maybe you in that point in time, you weren't able to gauge, like, maybe she was done as a kid, like...
You're probably right, but she was cracking up with me.
So it's hard.
Listen, had she been like, no, Kitty, I don't want to hug you. Obviously, I'm not going to be a picture of you want to hug me. It was more like, and again, knee-jerk reaction. If you're physically playing with someone, it could have been an easy, just a mistake that she didn't mean to. My issue was once it happened, and I said, you just picked me, you know that, right? She just kept laughing, like, what to do? She's a child. It makes sense that she's not gonna be like, oh my God, did I? I'm so sorry, Kitty. I get that she wouldn't, but I just wanted her to acknowledge the fact that that's not okay.
Absolutely.
And that was my whole thing. I didn't want her to be like super apologetic. She's a child. She's not gonna. But I was looking forward to her at least being like,
I want to
My
speak
bad.
up on back on the parenting thing. My cousins were like beat bad, like, you know what I'm saying, bad in middle school. So of course, as a black, we've been disciplined and stuff like that. It's almost like a no-brainer. Like you can't. There's almost no point in asking another black child, man or woman, if they ever been disciplined in any kind of way. Physical. Because at some point, sometimes some parents do the hold the books, stand in the corner. You know what I mean, or whatever.
like a timeout.
Timeout, you know what I mean? But
I've done time.
our timeouts be different though. Back to the stereotype.
Hey, you know the shit.
Okay, well, let me say-
I ever had. My
let me-
mom made me stand in sit in the corner on my knees and some salt.
Wow.
That's abuse,
torture.
bro.
That's
I was like,
abuse.
I've never heard that. I've never, yeah.
Or
That's
rice.
what Catholic
I heard the
church is.
rice.
Like, what the fuck is going
Yeah,
on?
I heard
Rice
the
is
rice.
even colder. but
Yeah,
some salt, I was like,
Rice, I heard of that. And the
I
baby got
just-
up and it was bleeding.
Yeah.
That's
I
literally.
always
what it is.
resent her.
Yeah, see,
Like, some rice is used like that's.
Yeah,
But
that's
she
not
was
cool.
in her defense.
And
she
I'm
was
glad
like
that she said that it's abuse because at some point, at what point is it abuse to get the child? You know what I mean? A lot of us sometimes became good people or better people because of it.
Yeah.
Back to
I mean, when
Back to the
when I
story.
was a kid, my parents used to spank me.
Yeah.
They would spank me.
Okay.
I mean, but again,
Well, when we
they
say
didn't-
beat, that's what
they
we
didn't.
mean.
But what if
I
you don't
deserved
feel
it.
like, what if?
That's what I'm saying.
That's a
Yeah.
I
good
mean, there was
response.
this one instance where we had this like aluminum shed, and my mother was like, "Hey, James, you want to go to Paperama?" Paperama was a store that we had back in Boston with us, and go with us. And I'm like, "No, I'm good." And then when they left, I just got really angry, and I was like, "Fuck, I want to go." And then I picked up this metal pole and just whacked the shit out of the shed, and then tried to blame my next door neighbor, like hit him.
Wow.
And then we're like, "No, that's not going to
Next
happen."
door neighbor, it wasn't you.
It wasn't them. They went over, they talked it, and it can't be my kid. He wasn't here. And I go, you're fucking a lie. And basically the shed was aluminum, so it rains in Massachusetts. So there's now big gaping holes so water can get in. And my father was pissed, and my mother was pissed, and my father took a belt to me.
Yeah.
But in the end, when you look back, I'm like, I fucking don't deserve it.
I'm not even gonna lie, and I appreciate you for saying that. There's times I got whooped. You know what I mean? If it's 5 in a black family, back to the stereotype.
Sure.
In a black family, you got 5, 6 kids playing in one room. If one person breaks something, and don't nobody say who did it,
Everybody gets whooped.
you are.
I was the only child. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Right, I was the only child as well. I definitely got whooped, but
Yeah.
I don't recall it being unwarranted. You know what I mean? I think my mom was just, we can get into that's a whole different show.
Yeah.
She's a recovering alcoholic now, but at the time, she was still practicing alcoholic, so that had a lot to do with whether or not her mood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It really didn't have so much to do with me and me being disobedient
Yeah.
as much as it did with her struggling with her own demons and how she would respond to.
I think it's also because there's no age cap on when you're supposed to have a kid. Like whenever people have children, you're kind of stuck in this world. There's no manual for it.
Right.
So you're kind of dealing with your own aggressive problems at the same time. And I think a lot of misconception that people have is that it's only black people that do that shit. Everybody does that shit, but we're still learning ourselves. We're still figuring out, how to parent while controlling and dealing with our own trauma issues at the same time.
Y'all have
So
any
it's-
questions about the, I'm sorry, we didn't cut
Yeah,
you
no,
off.
I was done. That shit's perfect time.
I know that's right, perfection.
Yeah, and a lot of it's funny because our perspective is weird. Right?
Unique.
I have a lot of questions for James because I'm curious and I
This is
found
an
myself
opportunity.
it's an opportunity and I find myself doing that a lot, making other people feel welcome and feel better and just try to understand their
And
their
why? Do
perspective.
they deserve that?
we need the white powers here. We need people who
No.
don't.
I want to know as a human being, right? I get why you would do that as a human, but the fact that we go above and beyond to do it with white folks, I offended a white man somehow. I forget what happened. They offended me first, right? And so in
That's how you
being who I am, right? Being who
When
I
you
am,
offend
I
you,
read-
you react and you call you
Right,
crazy.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so then, of course, it was the tears, and there was like, wait a minute,
Hold on.
are we in the
I didn't-
Matrix?
Yeah.
How are you crying? Because you said
Hurt me.
something offensive to me, and I simply responded to you saying the offensive thing. That's where I have the problem. I am not going to hold your hand while I explain how you hurt me. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's
That's
the most,
ridiculous.
That's the most hurtful part about being a human.
I think people like that don't deserve it. Back in the question, like, do they deserve it? I think I more so have the perspective like James ain't he ain't a slave owner. You know,
No.
it was he didn't directly do it. Maybe his grandfather didn't do it. Maybe even the one before that didn't do it. So I don't think it's not necessarily that I'm trying to save everyone, but I think in this day and age, I give everybody the benefit of the doubt into understanding transparency as far as our perspective. So I provide that because some people just genuinely want to know, what's going on, or they're just ignorant.
About Kitty is the fact that we try to understand people, but they don't care to really try to understand.
Hey, there's no reciprocity,
No,
and it goes back to what you just said, though.
But as a whole, there are some people who do.
Well, of course there are.
And
Not
I cater
everybody
more
is
to those
everything.
people. I think it's the
But
choice.
how would you even know that, though, babe? Like, you literally are coming up on a white person, and you're like, well, James, for example, as you use, he's maybe not even his great grandfather is guilty of. What does slavery have to do with how he treats you, how he talks to you? Whether or not it's granddaddy or pappy, and whether or not the house he was raised in, whether or not the school, all of the elements that created who he is as a human, there's still choices at the end of the day. And so if he chooses to still be a dickhead to you,
Then I'm gonna let your ass have it.
but
Those
how
people,
would you know that though?
I think I'm just speaking on
And you know what's crazy?
my experience, just
that's-
conversations that I've had with people.
We have too much good
But
in us.
wait, I'm
to
sorry,
where
can
we
we just
adopt-
finish this
I did-
one
go ahead,
thing?
yeah, go ahead.
So with that being said though, the conversations, right, dictate whether or not you allow them that grace. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like y'all start from a place of grace. So how would you know that without even having this interaction? The white man comes in and he walks through the door before you and lets the door slam on you. Maybe it had nothing to do with you being black.
Well,
Maybe
you don't
he's
hold
just
it
a
open
rude
like-
person, right? But he held it open for the white person. So now it puts another perspective in there because you're like, oh, that added element makes me think that it's definitely fueled by race. So are we still giving him that pass? That's what I'm trying to
If
figure out.
anybody gives me any type of interaction that is fueled by racial motive,
Or that you would perceive.
that right now, I'm gonna let your ass have it.
Oh,
Who the fuck you think you is?
how
You ain't
much-
gonna talk to me no time. You know what I'm saying? But I just approach it differently. I wait to see who's where they're at. First, I
That's
check
right.
the temperature.
That's
You know,
what
and I'm not
I'm
saying you don't. You know what I mean?
But I definitely, in the front of my mind, I'm ready. That's all I'm
Right.
saying.
That's
I'm
right.
not coming ready to fight.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just ready to know that the
Yeah.
other shoe will drop at some point, and
Yeah.
I can just go,
Absolutely.
I already knew.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a fortunate thing because, fortunate and unfortunate because people like us who have these open minds don't always run into the same energy as a closed-minded person. I have a friend of mine, every time we get in the car, we're about to go somewhere, you always want to drive, but you complain about police the whole way to the location. You talk about police the whole way we there. Every time police get behind you, talking about, like at some point, you may put yourself in a position to be pulled over. You know what I mean? So,
Ooh, that's crazy. That's a good point. My bad. I'm sorry. He just sparked a question that I had. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no, because a lot of times we can overthink ourselves into a situation, but at the same time, like I see was saying, on the forefront of the mind, we're forced to be ready.
We have to.
Because on
We have a
Instagram,
choice.
they show us getting killed, manipulated. I mean, not castrated, but you know what I mean. We get treated a certain kind of way to
What is it called
install
when you treat them emasculated? That's where you're going with that?
Emasculated.
Yeah,
the aided.
absolutely. So, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say, I have a. Go ahead. No, go.
No. I was just gonna say it's 2:22. So just in the spirit of time, I thought we could like end on a funny note or
I
a
have
high
one more
spirit.
question. This is
That's what I was
this is
gonna
a
say,
total
question.
crass,
Okay.
crass kind of question.
We
Did
have
you not hear me
organized
say that?
First of all, we have
Let
an
me finish my
organized
sentence.
show.
No,
and then
that
it
was
just turned out to be an
because
organic thing.
that's what makes for a beautiful
That was
right.
the
That's where I was
outline.
going with the
The
James.
outline.
You just cut me off a little bit, so I just wanted to say in this last little space, I'd love to like make a little levity, right? This is
Yeah.
kind of deep in here. Nothing wrong with that. That we need to have these discussions. Got to move the needle forward. But the whole purpose of this was to kind of get into the stereotypes between races, and I think it'd be fun, right? The
Okay.
last part of this to get into our questions
That's
and like
fact.
debunk them or admit that there's some truth to them.
Okay.
Okay? So
So
is
we're
that
gonna
what you
get his
said?
question out first.
Yeah,
Okay.
please, James, go.
The stereotype, all black men have big dicks. Is that true?
Oh my
Is there-
God.
I can answer that.
You said
I wanted-
you
I
said
wanted-
dick
I-
like nothing.
I want all three. I want.
I mean,
just like
You know
I
what's
say, all
crazy?
Asian guys have little dicks.
Maybe
white
it
guys
says
have
What
little
did you
dicks.
want him to say?
Maybe it's
Yes?
maybe it's a stereotype. Cock.
What
You
did
know
you
what
want
I
him
mean?
to say?
It's not even. I just didn't expect.
I want to use that one time. I'm gonna go home and tell my wife
I
to
feel
suck.
like-
I feel like dick is for like.
Are all black men have big penises?
Thank you, right.
Does that work?
No.
I mean-
The answer is no.
Yes.
I see some pornos with some
Of
average
course.
niggas with average sized dicks. I'm just putting it out there.
Mhm.
So it
There
ain't
are
true.
black men with very small penises, absolutely.
Right. You got niggas
That's
that got
what-
micro
that's what
dick
you should
syndromes.
ask.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
the majority of the penises that I've encountered have been either average or bigger.
Okay.
True,
That's
but I've
what
definitely, and you know what else surprised me? The cat that pulled the joint out and it had a hood. I said, what the fuck is happening here?
He said
Right?
that's
Oh,
the
that's the
turtleneck.
turtle.
Right, that's
turtle
turtleneck.
shell, yeah, the turtle
I'm
shell.
not with that. All
She
I-
said the hood.
Right, because you know what it made me think of?
What?
When I was in grade school, I learned this word from the white kids, schmegma. That's what they would throw around at each other as an insult. So of course I had to learn what the fuck it meant.
Right.
It is literally the liquid or like the pasty thing that happens with men that are not circumcised.
Y'all not throwing smegma at me.
Schmegma.
That's smegma.
Smegma.
Where do y'all get that from?
Schmegma.
I call it like when the kids come to get up, they like stuff in their eye. I call that eye schmegma.
That's
I
disgusting and
Yeah,
probably
that's
do
gross.
not do that. to them.
Probably not traumatizing.
Your children.
This is the
No,
first
I
time
say
I've ever
schmegma.
heard
It's
schmegma.
called
I've never
holes
heard
in your
schmegma.
eye or
It's
eye
like gross.
boogers.
Yeah, eye boogers.
How about no schmegma
Schmegma.
to your children?
Okay.
That's probably not.
I'll call it eye boogers.
So where do you get smegma from?
Schmegma.
Hold on.
S-H. There we go.
S-H-M-E-G-N-A.
And there we go. As I said, in grade school, I went to predominantly white schools in DC my whole life. And so that was an insult that they used to throw at each other, and I had no idea what the fuck they were talking about. Obviously, they were very involved in their sexual
At
knowledge.
that time, yeah.
But yeah, with that
That's
being
great.
said, big dicks, small dicks, to answer your question, that's the only time that I really am just like appalled. I don't know what you want me to do with that. I'm not putting it in my mouth. Because it makes me think that like there are things that are going on that haven't been dealt with. Like how do I know
We
that
have
that's
an
like,
undone
like,
penis.
and how do I even, like, it, yeah, it's the, I don't know how to
So
do
they
that.
need to be circumcised.
They need, for me personally, and that's a whole different topic. It had nothing to do with your question.
It's also called a pullback.
No. That's really what it is. That's
One of
that's-
my sons has a pullback. I'll just put it out there.
Why?
Bro, leave the sun.
You know what? I'm gonna be very honest and transparent. It wasn't any like,
Intentional?
it wasn't intentional. It wasn't like any spiritual belief or anything like that.
Y'all
It's
just forgot.
At the time. Basically, we forgot.
Oh,
I
no.
forgot to pay the doctor. Basically, I was
Yeah.
supposed to pay her previously, and at the time, shit got mixed up. We having babies. I'm like, yo, what's going on with the slip? She's like, well, unfortunately,
What's going on?
Wait, okay, stereotypes.
Right.
That was nice.
I'm just
That
saying.
sounded a
I'm
little
just-
appropriate, but
I'm
whatever
gonna
works.
let you throw what type of nationality you think it was.
Right, because I'm still confused as the accent, but okay.
Yeah, so he walked out with a pullback, and he still got a pullback to this day. He's 4 years old.
And it's gonna be so.
But it's not the worst thing.
He's still-
I
he's
think
He can still get it done.
I think pullbacks are. I had a homie that had a pullback before. He's still doing his thing. He get bitches left and right. He just pull it back. You clean it well.
Hey, bro, flip the
And-
hood.
I think it's just the way it looks grosses me out probably.
I think
Again,
that's
I
more
look at the
so.
From a woman
mechanics
perspective?
of like.
She said the
oral.
mechanic.
I just don't. So I pull it back and then I get down,
That's
or like
right.
I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. How do I work it? I feel like I'm working against myself with the skin and then my mouth. And
yeah.
there's a lot going on. I don't like
Yeah.
it. Just me.
That's just it's biting your back.
The visual
Yeah.
of that is
Now,
gonna be
Katie,
great.
now I
Yes.
have a question for you.
Yes.
And you know, why are black women so serious about their hair?
Well, you know what? I think you can answer that question only because you've been to a couple of events with me.
He went
and
to
both-
Juneteenth.
He went
How
to
many
Juneteenth.
events you been to?
I just said a couple of events.
Two?
I'm just saying, in general, I've always heard you never touch a black woman's
Right,
hair.
and I'm
nonsense.
answering the question. So the two events that we went together that highlighted Black experience or whatever, we went to the California African American Museum when Ryan Coogler was there to hear him speak. And James made the same comment that he did when we went to Leimert Park, like, y'all do not play about y'all hair. This
Yeah.
is amazing. The colors, the styles,
And
the
you know, make me see
intricacy.
that.
How is it that y'all are able to come up with this stuff? This woman, I'm standing behind her, and she got colors, she got braids. It must have taken a day to get that done. I'm like, no, hairstyle takes an entire day, but I can appreciate how you would think that,
Of course.
right? So to answer your question, there's a lot of respect that we have for our hair, how we do it, how we maintain it, how the history of cornrows.
I was about to say the
Again,
history of rice. I heard they put rice.
Right.
They just put rice in the
rice water.
For a lot of women, it has nothing to do with the history.
I'm about to get into it.
Right.
I'm not
Go.
finished. So it's a
Go.
two-part answer.
Go.
So that part, or the fact that oftentimes white people in general are fascinated, just as you are. But your fascination comes out in a question. It doesn't come out in a, oh my God. Like we're aliens. Can I touch it?
Right.
Fuck no, you can't touch it. Because you're making me, just as I mentioned earlier with the white man, that I just discovered that I love black women and your skin. And so that's called fetishization. And you having a fetish with my hair because yours does not grow that way does not give you the right to put your hand in it
Right.
at all. You can be fascinated all motherfucking day. Matter of fact, you can ask me questions. I might be a little offended at that, but I would be way more offended if you felt like you were my personal space, you violated. And that's another thing that y'all tend to stereotypes, right?
Come on now.
That's been my experience, that white folks feel very comfortable being like, where'd you get that shirt from? I don't mind. I don't think you give a shit if I touch you. We're friends. We've been friends for 7 years.
Right.
If I have something in my hair, then you better get it out for me.
Right,
But
right.
what I don't appreciate is that when you come over and go, does that come
Yeah.
off? Like,
Yeah.
what do you,
So it's a few different reasons.
To be honest,
I think
though,
like-
I can only imagine what it's like to be white.
oh God.
We created a new wave, but I think you did that. We gotta say what that
We're gonna
was.
do it. We're gonna do a skit on white guys.
And y'all would be,
White guys.
I'm gonna give that to
So this is the
Robin
thing.
Reed. I'm gonna
Like how you were saying about the praise, I use the word praise.
I see.
About the acknowledgement for the hair movement. We can't never really have ourselves in a position to get a proper recognition. Every time somebody reaches for somebody's hair, it's always a stranger for some reason.
It's not for some reason.
It's not.
They're fascinated.
It's never, you know, well,
Their hair goes
I mean,
out of their hair straight and dumb.
when I say it for some reason, I don't mean like in a literal sense. It's like,
Okay.
even you know this woman, like she said, nigga, you better get it out. Like,
Right, but I would ask her, I'd be like, hey kitty, you have
Yeah,
something in your hair.
something.
Do you mind if I
Exactly.
I would never be like, oh, you know, like, oh my god, I love these
But
red
you know what
curls.
though?
Right,
Unfortunately,
that would piss me
what
off.
if it is something that pisses us off? And I hate to have to kind of think like that, but why don't you know by now that it's not okay to walk?
And maybe they do know and they do it anyway.
That's what I was just saying.
They do
right
it any,
there.
I just saw a video the other day real quick. So black family, they're coming out of the restaurant, white woman is coming into the restaurant, two of the women are older, right? Like they above auntie age, like grandma kind of age. So the white woman taking out, oh look at this family, you guys are beautiful, and just going on her whole rampage, and then she zeroes in the baby girl that's in a stroller. And she's just like, such a pretty girl, and going on and on, saying, okay, thank you, thank you. The moment she says it, it's hilarious. The video kind of slows down and goes in slow-mo. She reaches over to touch the little baby's hair, and the grandma comes out of nowhere, swoops in, and just stands between her. She doesn't touch her. She doesn't tell her, don't do that. She just, and make sure that the white woman can't get around her to touch the hair. Why do you feel like you have the right to do that? And you're so amazed by our hair.
Another
And
answer
it's
to your
so
question it's not deep at all. It's vanity. Don't touch my shit because you're gonna fuck it up.
That too.
That's one of the main things
That's
too.
well, I think all three of them kind of.
That's what I said.
coincide.
It's a melting pot.
Absolutely.
But because no shade.
And
Yeah.
you know
Can't
what?
even take some shade.
We
Because
can't
of
even touch
the age gap, right, and the generational difference.
Yeah.
For my generation, the reasons are a little bit different. Because a lot of niggas my age, 30 and under, they don't really know much about their history. So they're not like, don't touch my hair because this is an indigenous style that I'm dedicating to my ancestors.
Right.
It's like, no, you don't fuck my shit up. Don't.
Right,
It's that
right.
one, and the other one is like, you don't put your fingers in my head.
Right.
Just like don't touch my hands, don't touch
that
my
to me
knees. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like, you just don't touch people's personal
I was about to say.
Exactly. Period.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to, just because it's like you violate. I mean, I wouldn't want you to do it, so I'm not going to do it to you as well.
Again,
Hey, that's
human
something I gotta
element.
learn too, because I'm that nigga that be like, hey, you got something in your head, like get this shit out.
But no, when it's all about the delivery. I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're
I feel like a lot of times I might have come smooth with it.
What you say? Yeah, come on, brother.
Well, did you know like with hugging and stuff like that? I mean, I would have not normally hugged you in the or you, just because I don't know. You know, you guys were
What you're
open to it.
comfortable with. Cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll go with it.
It was
I mean,
an
would I
anecdote.
do it to you? No. I mean,
Right,
just
it was
because
fine.
you just met me and you're like, what's this dude trying to hug me for? You know,
What I will
you know?
say, and it may sound crazy, but as a black man, we have unwritten laws. We we have.
I think all cultures do they not?
Yeah.
Asians
Yeah,
have
yeah,
some
yeah.
laws,
I
of
can only
course.
speak for us. I'm not sure, but what I mean by that is like the whole hair touching thing. There's just certain things you don't just get in somebody's car and touch their record. You don't just.
I mean, I don't go up to women and just randomly slap their asses. That's just disrespectful. Any ethnicity, you know.
You ever seen The Wood? You gotta watch that.
Hey, you know what's funny?
We should get him a
Yeah,
list.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, we need to get them a
We go
list
to-
because that's helping, right? And I don't have a problem with that. I just think that it's problematic if you decide you want to be an ally and be down for the cause and be a part of the answer, not the question, or be a part of the solution and not the problem. Exactly. But then you don't do the actual work to do that. That unnerves me, right? Like I expect you to keep teaching me everything. I don't have any patience or tolerance with white folks that show up and be like, I remember one time I signed up, again, workout groups, right? That's what voiceover people do. It's just like going to the gym, but just for your voice.
Hey, you
So I
probably would
said-
get a whole lot of that too.
I signed up for a workout group. The place was in Burbank, and I went there, and I remember I had just got raised. So when I walked in, the white man that owned the place spent at least a good 3 to 5 minutes going on and on and on about my braids. He wanted to touch them. He wanted to know how my hair grew overnight. Like just ridiculous shit that took me back to when I was a child. Like this ain't the 70s. What the fuck are you talking about? By now, your people get extensions all the fucking time too.
Yeah.
So and wear wigs. So what is happening right now? I will never forget. I stopped going because his whole thing, I was like, this is not, and so I basically explained, which I should not have,
You shouldn't
to
have
have, right, what went on, but always, but literally with this face, like,
Yeah.
So at the end of it, he goes to hug me and says, oh, Kitty, you're like my, what do you say, you're my Wikipedia. I'll just come to you if I have any questions. You can be like my interpreter for the black race.
It's like you're trying to uplift me and like.
At the
It's a
same
very
time.
discreet
It's-
way of being
it's just
It's a
disrespectful.
microaggression.
That's what.
Hey, but also with giving out a right, it's also very, very difficult for other races to know when and how to navigate that. And I mean, like how you say, okay, once it becomes a fetish, it gets kind of weird. But once you're genuinely, wanting to learn and get the knowledge
Yeah.
and have questions, it's like your letter to a white person or anyone who wants to learn that's
Yeah.
not black. It's
Yeah.
like, how do they navigate that to the point
I
where
don't
it's
think-
not weird
I
and it's
don't
not disrespectful to you for you?
I don't think that they have intuition. It's like more sort of spiritual guidance with us. I hate to kind of put it like that, but we are guided in another way that I can't even explain. And what I mean by that is, as far as the history, religion, and everything, I think that more so is like intuitive.
I think that if you show up in a space that is predominantly whatever it is, and you have a question about the space, you're right, it's a fine line to walk. It just kind of depends. The other day when BT Weekend was here, we're standing outside, we're waiting to get in. A couple walks past white people because we're all outside milling about in their streets. Because it was, of course, in Hollywood. They walked past and said, what the hell's going on here? In a joking way, but they thought that was cute. Right? They thought that, oh, let's just show up and ask questions and we'll act like we're the cool kids and we just want to know what's going on, as opposed to, hey, what's happening?
Yeah, right.
Because they thought that maybe that would be offensive, but if they come in like this and go, what the hell are you guys doing? That we'd be more, I guess, prone to answer their question.
Yeah.
We all literally looked at each other, exchanged glances, and after a beat of silence, one of us volunteered, well, whatever they're doing in there, it seems like they're having a good time and they're doing it. So, yeah, we're just going to let
The
them do that.
intuition and being able to
Mind your
answer something like
fucking
that.
business.
No, that's what you really could have said.
But
You know what
that's my
I mean?
point.
It's
We
almost
all
like
looked at each other.
we get a message like, hey,
We didn't have to say
respond
words.
like this.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like
With the looks
it's-
that we gave each other, like, here we go. One was just like, let me step out here and be the answer to this. And very kindly, not with any affront or any aggression, whatever they're doing, they're probably having a good time. Sounds like music, maybe some food.
The
Yeah.
reaction
So
was
their
unexpected.
response was, so you don't know. They're having a good time. We're not about to
Right.
explain
Engage
to
in the
you
way that
why
you
we
want.
shown up.
Right.
And it could have been that they were just curious. We could have been in any neighborhood, right? Like, and they could have been black folks. But had they been black folks, I think we probably would have had no problem answering them. It's the fact that oftentimes, obviously not your son, But overall, white folks come with this inquisitiveness that's very aggressive, that's very like, you owe me.
It's like
that
false
information.
inquisitive.
We get to show up, as white people, we get to show up anywhere we want.
Question
Anywhere.
whoever.
Question whoever about whatever.
Right.
But the moment that we show up in what y'all perceive as your space, then we have it, we got some splaining to do.
Right.
Yeah, that was the point that Diamond had. She said, because I had a question for James, like, do you ever knowingly use your
White privilege.
your privilege? And she was like, some people do, just as, black people may use their aggression or their strength to walk in the room and command whatever strength you have. Sometimes you use it subconsciously or knowingly. And she said a lot of white people don't even necessarily title it as a sense of entitlement, just because that's because you don't recognize
it's a lack of self-awareness.
And that's
you're self-aware, you gotta be accountable.
But that's racist too.
Right.
Because if you're self-aware, or at least read the fucking
Self-aware
room,
when it's convenient for you.
exactly. You show up in spaces, and instead of reading the room, and instead of filling up on the energy, and maybe this isn't the right space to see this, you say, I'm white. So I can say,
I
well,
don't hear
I
too many
want.
white people talk about energy or
Thank you.
trying to feel.
And it's not even necessarily always white people. Some person could just genuinely be a fucking dick and has no self-awareness.
Right.
Exactly.
It's just all, like I said, it's self-awareness.
It's all about
Having discretion.
Am I going to go into, going to Juneteenth? Am I going to scream the N-word?
Yeah.
Not unless you want to die.
No, exactly. I mean, but I'm not there for that. I'm there for the culture, or just to see what it's all about. That kind of stuff. That's really why you go and have fun.
Let's go.
Y'all got other questions? I want to hear some more questions.
Yes,
Some levity. No, I want to know, do all white folks not use washcloths? And if so, what the fuck is up with that? Why do you think that you get clean just with your hands?
Well,
Like,
I mean, it could be
skin cells
just
and all
because
that?
the dawn of.
Can I reach over to this is probably crazy.
It could be. I mean, personally, I'm aloof from gun.
Okay.
But I mean, it could be the easiness of like just liquid soap.
Yeah.
People just put it in their hand and just kind of like, you don't use a washcloth.
But
to-
we literally were taught as children, liquid, hard, it don't matter what you're using to clean your body, it has to be accompanied by a washcloth. Funny story, not even a story. Not Venus, who's married to a white woman? Serena said that her husband had to be taught. He literally did not know what the little towel is for. Is what they call it. The little
Face
towel.
cloth.
Yeah.
Face cloth, washcloth, rag,
hand
I
towel,
don't know,
and
rag.
bath towel.
There you go, but often, apparently, that's not taught in every home, so we can't make that assumption. When people say common sense, it drives me crazy, because sense ain't always common. I was not raised in the same home as you. You don't know what I know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. I'm standing out in the rain because my mama never told me to come in, so I thought
Right.
this was a cool thing to do.
Right.
Again, to your point, I think it's interesting that that's something that you just associate with, well, you put it in your hand and you go da 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 da. But in our home, that was never, we're not going to assume this what you use. You better get up under them arms. You better get